4, 3. All right, here we go. All right, everybody, we live. Shout out to everybody that is watching right now. Sorry for the wait, but man, this is crazy because y'all usually see me just side by side with somebody, but I had to bring the family along. And I think this is cool because I never met, maybe Basel said, I've never met any of these guys in person, but I follow all these guys on Twitter, all through social media. They all got their own thing, and I'm gonna get everybody to introduce themselves. So, Kaz, man, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's going on, people? I'm Kaz, host of Say Less with Kaz, my new podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, all that type of stuff. You can catch me on SNY's The Thread. I'm also the host of Big Apple Buckets with the New York Post and Cause and Effect on Revolt TV, amongst other things. Do Say Palooza and other stuff.
You got multiple checks coming in, bro. That's honestly like all I heard was check.
All right,
that's real.
All right, so man, shout out, man. One thing I follow him for, man, is my wrestling stuff because my guy knows all his wrestling stuff. He is a look. When I need wrestling stuff, I'm going to him. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So right next to him, man, this is my homie. Y'all see the sneakers in the background. I know y'all always talking about me with the kicks, but this dude here, different level. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh man, I'm Wells P out of LA. I have a lot of shoes. I do a lot of cool things on the marketing side, and I DJ also. So yeah, I don't have as many jobs as Kaz, but
well, I mean, we'll see how much of these still last in the next couple weeks. Because
I know I felt like I'm going after the person with the A+ presentation. I'm just like, yeah, I'm out here. Yeah, so that's me.
All right. So, man, this guy right here, man. So I'm gonna tell you about him. He gets me in trouble because I retweet all his jokes, and I forget that sometimes that I actually be around a lot of these NBA guys or NFL guys. But more importantly, man, he's a part of basketball history. I mean, his dad, man, is one of my favorite players growing up, man. But I want him to introduce himself. Go ahead, brother.
What's going on, Josiah Johnson, aka King Josiah 54. You can see me on Twitter and Instagram getting these jokes off. Also catch me on Yahoo Sports, hosting the show Dunk Bait every Monday around like 9 a.m. depending on when we get the show out. But yeah, man, just appreciate y'all. Glad to be amongst all y'all legends right now.
Yeah, man.
This dude, I'm telling y'all right now, follow this dude because he will get you in trouble. If you don't want to test the waters, that's my guy. Now, this dude next to him, man, I'm going to tell y'all about him. He's the only dude I know that can find any highlight, especially from the 2000s. If it's a random game, I'll be like, how the hell he find this highlight? I go on YouTube, can't find it. But he has it. This dude is a basketball historian. He knows all this stuff. He's a New Yorker, of course. So, man, go ahead and introduce yourself, dog.
Yo, Chris, first of all, man, thank you for the opportunity to come on with you guys, man. I know it's a last-minute thing. You hit me up last night, and, how can I say no? So I'm here with a great few people here tonight, and my background is basically right now I do a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and Ball's Life called The Retro Room, where it's basically me bringing up a whole bunch of throwback topics from basketball. There are so many basketball podcasts nowadays that focus on today's current NBA. So me trying to be different and think outside the box, try to find a podcast where I can talk about some things that we haven't heard about in a long time. So whether it be players, different games, highlights, different things from back then in the NBA. So I created the Retro Room about 1.5 years ago. Still young, but it's doing better than I expected. I also do a basketball tournament here in New York City for about 20 years called Hoops of the Sun at Orchard Beach in the Bronx. So if you guys ever heard of the Drew Leagues, the Venice Beach, the Dykers, the world, we're a part of that world. So if we do have a season this summer, it'll be year 21, but that remains to be seen. And I also do work with the New York Knicks. I've been with them for about 14 years, started as a ball boy, a locker room attendant. And now I just do stuff in the community with them with clinics and stuff like that. So when it comes to basketball, I'm just involved in it heavily, man.
So,
man, y'all hear that? See, I see them that stream of income. I just started counting my fingers. Okay. I'm getting a little upset now. All right. So last but not least, this is my homie here, my big bro. Y'all know him, former NBA All-Star. He won a dunk contest. He makes fun of another player in a dunk contest all the time.
I'll make fun of him though. Okay, all right. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Not only that, as my man put earlier, rapper, DJ, producer. He was on a couple of TV shows, if y'all remember. He was on a couple of TV shows as well. He's been on a couple of movies.
But you had to have a very quick finger and a remote control to see it though. You had to see it. If you ain't, you know what I mean? If you wasn't quick with it, you ain't see me in there.
But man, you ain't really got to introduce yourself, but go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Ced Ceballos, that's about it. I mean, everything else is just kind of just falling in line. I'm really proud, to be a vice president, one of the vice presidents with the Mavericks. That's one of my biggest things because they don't usually let, former players into that world, that business side. I'm not on the player or the team side. I'm on the business side. They don't usually let us into that world. So I'm very honored to have that position. I appreciate St. Marshall and Mark Cuban allowing me to do that. Because that's one of, even when I played, that's what I was always, when I first got in the league with the Suns, I was always curious and go sit in with Jerry Colangelo on how this big monsters of a thing called the NBA works. I'm a gnat in Adam Silver's ear all the time. We travel around the world and I'm always in his ear about things. And just when you get down and you start to, my mom always told me, just try to stick with something even when you're terrible at it. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, it'll come to fruition. And I wasn't really too good about how the NBA really works as far as the business side, but I just kept plugging away and got to this point within, I say, about a 12-year, 13-year journey of trying to get myself on the executive side, not on the, the team basketball side. So
Wow, man, that's dope. All right, so first question I have for all you guys is, what made you a lifelong hoop fan? And I think for me, it's just that basketball is a part of my culture. Hip hop, sneakers, gaming, everything that I'm involved in, basketball has always been there. I mean, as I gotten older, I've been lucky enough to be able to relate to a lot of the NBA players growing up in certain kind of backgrounds and different things like that. But I'm gonna ask you guys, starting with you, Kaz, how did you become this lifelong basketball fan?
Man, it all started with my mom, bro. Like my mom was, she gave me the curse of being a Knicks fan really early. So, when I was like, I want to say 5 years old, I was watching the Knicks go to the Eastern Conference Finals every year, going up against the Pacers or Reggie or Mike with the Bulls, and ever since then, I played the game, and just it's brought me so many places as far as like not even scratching the surface of like even making it to like a huge college or like to the pro level, but just being around the game as a player, as a writer, as a fan, like it just brought so much joy to me. So that's I've always just, it's been the one game that spoke to my heart, especially you born and raised in New York City. Like you're gonna be a hoop guy. Like there's not much around there, especially when you're growing up. Like you either playing baseball or you playing basketball, and basketball was always it for me.
All right, so Josiah, obviously you grew up in a basketball household, man.
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
Honestly, I didn't have any other option. My dad played in the league. Obviously, was a 5-time All-Star, so it was, it was pretty much I was going to be hooping. That's all I ever know. I remember when I was a little kid, I was about 3. He played in the All-Star game actually in Dallas. I want to say in '86. Yeah. Came back. I remember we picked him up at the airport. I'm a little kid at this point, but he had this little mini hoop next to him, and I remember I had this little foam ball that came with the hoop, and I used that thing for probably like 2 years. Like the ball was all busted and crusty and janky. I don't know if y'all remember like the way the balls used to come back in the day on those little toy hoops, but I dribbled the fuck out of it, played with it all the time. And obviously my older brother was a, big time hooper, played at UCLA, won a national championship. So it was just, it was bred in us, man. We were hoopers. We got balling in our bloodline. So that's how we got in it. And we just, the whole family hoops. And that's really all we know.
Man, Wells, tell me, dog.
For me, it was 1987 finals. The first memory of basketball I have is Magic hitting that little sky hook over the Celtics. And I remember just being like, so my parents were so happy and so elated. And I was like, I want to play basketball. And so they signed me up for a little YMCA when I was 6. And from that point, it's just been I still play now. Well, we can't go outside right now, but usually I play like 4 to 5 days a week. But that was, it became everything. It became work. It became life. It became just as a spectator too. Like I'll travel anywhere to go see a basketball game. I just love the game. Like it's happiness. It's like it's bliss. And I'm hurting right now. I know everybody's hurting just to have the season snatched from us when we were about to get like the best playoffs of all time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, Randy, man, New York Knicks. Obviously, you're involved in basketball daily, man. Tell us.
Well, I keep it real, man. I was not a Knicks fan until '99, so I know my dad was very upset about that. He was a big Knicks fan, and I'm in the house. And listen, man, I grew up as a Chicago Bulls fan, just like most people my age in that era. You saw Michael on TV all the time. The sneakers were going crazy. I wanted a pair every single time they came out. You saw the commercials. I wanted to eat Wheaties and drink Gatorade like Michael, and I just wanted to be like him. So I think the first memory I really had, I know he mentioned '87 final. For me, I would say the '91 finals and against Magic. Then you see one generation in Magic fans that he will retire the year after, and then you see this new guy coming on, Jordan, going to take over the NBA. And from that point on, I just became a Bull fan. So my dad was always a Knicks fan. I did not become a Knicks fan until later on in the decade. And this plus my dad has a weird background too. Like he went to school with Earl Domenico. So he in our household, he would always teach us basketball. He would always make us watch basketball games to go outside and play ball with my brother and I. So the game of basketball has always been in my blood, in my family. And then we're doing our own tournaments and doing stuff for the youth and the community. So no matter what I do, I'm always doing something involved in basketball.
Man, all right, said so. Dominguez, you went to a well-known basketball institution. When the list goes on, obviously the California hoops thing is a big deal.
Yeah.
What about you, dog?
Yeah, I'm a Cali kid, and I'm a little bit older than everybody, so I'm 50. So my roots go back to tape delayed games where we, don't tell me what happened. I got to wait till 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning before it comes on, that type of thing. And who really got me in the hoops was I was a football kid, Dallas Cowboys for life. I spent all my summers in East Texas, so out in the sticks. So only thing out there was like 2.5 television stations. And about right after the news, that's all they talked about was the Cowboys. And then after that, Johnny Carson came on. So, that as a kid, you're like, all right, let's turn the TV off before they get the static. I don't know if y'all knew about that, but TV actually went off back in the day. It just, the Star Spangled Banner, then it would just go straight snow. But being a Cali kid, our weather is unbelievable. So you get to play all outside. And later on, when I'm talking to other pros like Kenny Anderson, Mark Jackson, I used to be like, why do California kids have so much offensive and they want to run up and down, and New York style wants to slow down and make sure they get a good shot? And Mark and Kenny used to tell me because of the weather, because it'd be 50 million kids in there. You couldn't play outside. And if you didn't get a good shot and take care of the basketball, you ain't play for like 3 days. You know what I mean? Like you lost and didn't play for like 3 days. But us in Cali, you could walk down to the park. It's a gym open. It was so many places to play. But the respect that my older brother, Ced Ceballos, got on the court, I thought was bananas, man. Like I said, I was a football dude. And when I would go to the park with him and him being the first pick. Now this is a kid that's in elementary school. My older brother's in elementary school, averaging about 49 a game. Like, so he was kind of bananas. So when he came to the park, it was like, oh, okay, here come the guard. Just like you said with the man of goat and all that. Like the guard is walking in. And I was looking like, yo, that's kind of dope that you get picked first. And everybody like, no, he mine. They kind of arguing before he even threw his shoes on. They arguing who got him. So that's how I got it. I mean, I was terrible. Nobody had an opportunity to just sit me down and teach me the game. I remember my first time, my mom put me in a camp, and the coach was like, "Yo, go down there and let me see what you got and shoot a layup." So I went down with the basketball, 5-6 seconds went by. I came back and was like, yo, what's the layup? Like, I don't, what are you talking about? This is foreign to me. But my mom saw that. She took me outside, didn't let me get embarrassed by the tryout. She just took me outside and tried to teach me the game, the terminology. So it's got to be a family thing with me. I'm kind of like with you, Josiah. It's like a family thing. My mom balled when she was in high school and all that. She was real athletic. I don't know where Pops was at. So that part of me was like looking at my brother. My older brother was like that hero, and I watched him ball. And then when I started to really fall in love with it, when I knew I was in love with it, I didn't let nobody else know I was in love with it. But when Akeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing went head to head and Akeem lost, man, I was crying like a baby, man. And I don't know why I fell in love with Houston Rockets. Houston Five Slamma Jamma and that whole thing. I had a T-shirt on watching them. And I was just crying, man. And I that's when I knew then. I didn't know I wanted to be a basketball player, but I just knew that I had fell in love with something, that something had gravitated to me. And I knew wherever I was going to go, I was going to take basketball with me in that sense. Like, I'm not going to have a job by myself, so teamwork is important. Being able to be exhausted, but you still get on the line and run 17 in a minute. I mean, those things, adversity, all that stuff just kind of blossomed me and put me on the person I am. And I say that all the time to parents, like, you got to put them in sports because it's just going to help them so much. They may not become All-American or a pro or whatever, but it's just going to help them just function in life. And I think you find a lot of people that don't got it all for real. And I think it's because they never really got to fall in love with a sport or any team organized thing.
Man. All right, so we're going to get to it now because this first subject is a near and dear subject to me and Ced's hard because I have been confronted by one of the greatest things of all time because of Ced. And shout out to God, Sham God. They put me on the spot with this guy. And I got a question for you guys. I'm going to open up for y'all.
Confronted or jumped? Which one you want?
I really got jumped.
Yeah,
got jumped. Like if y'all saw the nice video, bro, imagine this. I'm about 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. Bro, it's a 6'8" dude, 6'3", about 6'7" dude next to me. And they all looking down at me talking about, bro, you don't know nothing about dunking. I'm like, come on, man. but I'm going to ask y'all a question, man. I'm going to open this up for y'all. Y'all know my answer on this. I'm going Zach LaVine. Who will win a dunk contest in their prime? Zach
in their prime? All right, I'll break it down like this, right? Just watching them, I love Zach LaVine's dunks. He's a 1 foot jumper. A lot of his dunks are take lots of long strides, and it takes a lot of space to get them done. So for a dunk contest, it usually builds anticipation. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things going on when you take them long strides behind the free throw line or them long bounces that he has to run and grab. No problem. I understand why you would take that. But Vince's body, pause, is just built for dunking. You know what I'm saying? Like he jumps higher, his arms are longer, he stays in the air longer. Like prime Vince, like granted, a lot of the stuff he did in that dunk contest that we all talk about in Oakland was stuff that we had never seen before. And that being done, the same thing with Zach LaVine, as dope as those dunks were, we've seen him dunk before, just not at that level. That stage, the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of grew up like Vince is, he's patient zero when it comes to like ridiculous, mind-numbing dunks as far as like going through the legs and putting your arm over the rim and like all these things. It's like if I'm talking to you and you're asking me who's the better writer, the person who invented the ABCs or the person who wrote, like, I don't know, the Bible, like the longest running written work in the history of written works. Like, great, okay, the Bible's great, but like Vince created the ABCs, bro. Like none of these crazy stuff is happening. So like he put it there, and just style wise, I just think Vince looks better when he dunks, bro.
But okay, so my take on it, and I told Chris this is I would take LaVine. The only reason I take LaVine is
wow.
Yeah, no, I take LaVine, and the reason being The reason being is I feel like the things I saw Zach LaVine do in 2 dunk contests, not to say Vince couldn't do them, but could Vince do them in the same type of breath? Vince was a power leaper, right? LaVine glides. Like I've never seen anybody with that type of, like, in a dunk contest that's not like a pro dunker,
Right.
like do those things. Like the one that he did at in Barclays when he jumped from the free throw line with in between the legs. I don't know if Vince could do that in his prime. I don't know. Vince was a gather dunker. So all his dunks were on the gather. Zach LaVine was flying from everywhere, behind the back, in between the legs, like doing all this, and it was beyond effortless. Both of them were effortless dunkers, but Vince was a gather effortless dunker.
I don't know if it was NBA Live that got me souped up, but I feel like at one point Vince had so many hops. I think he could go through the legs twice. Like I just feel like if somebody was pushing him, you gotta understand, like in that dunk contest, the only people that pushed him was McGrady and Steve Francis, right?
Steve Francis, yeah.
Put them in a time machine. We invent some contraption that gets both of them in their primes at the same time. I feel like the same thing that was going through Aaron Gordon's mind when he was going against Zach would have went through Vince's mind. Where he was like, all right, you doing this? All right, I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we only got to see the best of Vince because that's what he needed to do to win. You feel me? Like, it's hard. You hard pressed.
It's amazing to see. Yeah,
up to the top of backboards, bro. Like this. I mean, if he gets creative enough, I don't know what he couldn't do in the air.
Man, a few things, man. I think one thing that we forget is imagine how Jerry Stackhouse felt to dunk after Vince. The crowd is hyped. He did everything he did, and you're Jerry Stackhouse. Like, all right, now what the fuck am I supposed to do? And it's like, if I was him, I would have quit because Vince Carter was. Before that, you seen guys like a J.R. Ryder go between the legs, and you seen a guy like Kyrie Irving go left hand, whatever. But it wasn't propelled to a bigger level that Vince did. So now we're talking about Vince Carter, who was on the Mount Rushmore of all-time dunkers, right?
Right.
So is right now, Chris, is Zach LaVine anywhere near the Mount Rushmore of dunk contest dunkers? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
1,000% there. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Like no.
Okay.
I look. Me and Ced have had.
I said he's near, but is he on it? Is he
No,
on
he
it?
on
I said
it.
he's near.
He's on it.
He's on it.
He's one of, to me personally, he is one of the. If you don't want to put him as the best, he is definitely one of the 3 best in a dunk contest. Man, come on.
So you got Zach, you got Vince Carter. Who else?
You got Jordan.
Jordan.
You got Mike.
Yeah, you got Jordan. Because you have to put Jordan, right?
You gotta
Why do you have to?
Man.
Why do you have to? So this is the thing right here.
Okay.
First things first, we're talking about a span of 15 years. You feel what I'm saying? You don't get Zach unless you have Vince.
Yeah,
All Zach did was try what Vince did to the next level.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So let's go back. So that's why I'm like, okay, you putting Jordan on this list. Why? Because he went head to head with Dominique.
Because we're talking about a Mount Rushmore. We're talking about
that's what I'm saying. We're talking about a Mount Rushmore. But if that's the case, you don't put, because he never won one, you don't put Aaron Gordon up there over Jordan. If you go dunk for dunk, Aaron Gordon and Jordan, Aaron kills Jordan.
Okay.
It's a different time. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's the thing. We're asking
about
different questions. We're talking about best dunks, or when you think of the dunk contest,
right?
Like you think of U.S. presidents, you put these 4 people up there. Who are they? That's what I think.
So let's go back. So let's go back to the question. Let's go back to the question before Josiah jump in.
Okay.
Vince Carter, Zach LaVine. We are talking about one dunk from Vince. One to this day. If you put it on right now, all 6 of us right now, you put it on, we're gonna be like, oh my God. You gotta go, Zach, 1 dunk, 2 dunk, 3 dunk, 4. You gotta keep going. This dude shocked the world and continuing to shock the world with 1 dunk. And that's my beef right there. Vince has to be that dude because it was only 1 dunk. All the rest of the stuff he didn't need to do.
But you gotta remember, those that stood the test of time from 2000 until what? 2013
2016.
until now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're only talking about that one dunk, but before we was talking about the elbow and the rim dunk. We was talking about the first time we've seen anybody taking it through the legs.
My point is, I'm not talking about forget about the rest of the dunks. I'm just talking about one dunk going up against a body of work of Zach's.
Yeah,
one dunk. That's he can't. You think about it. Even though somebody else can do his dunk, they can't stop in midair and do like he did that night in Oakland. That's the thing. It doesn't matter how many times they do it, or he can go 2 legs, or he can go whatever. Zach can do it from the free throw line. Like, even when he does the one from the free throw line, it's so fast that you got to put your slow motion on it to go see what he did. Vince, you didn't need that with Vince. Vince, that dunk was automatically slow motion. It was automatically, you like, what did I just see? I don't know what I just saw right now. Even to this day, if you play it, you go, sure. I don't know what I just saw right now. And that's my point. Go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say, look, man, I got to rock with Zach because he's a UCLA Bruin. But if you're talking about a Mount Rushmore,
come on,
you're talking about a Mount Rush. But I got to roll with Vince just because for in-game dunkers, like the dunks he's doing in the dunk contest, he can get those shits off in game.
Yeah.
Zach's not really on that level. But if you're talking about like a Mount Rushmore dunker, I got to throw Spud Webb on there just because I remember as a kid watching that dunk contest and seeing the shit he pulled out at his height. I'm like, yo, bro, this is the most phenomenal thing. As a kid, lasting memories. Throw him out there, him or Nate. I don't know. I would have loved to see that battle the little guys, but they need some love too because what he's doing is phenomenal.
Dude, if you put Nate versus Spud, all Nate got to do is go between his legs, and we walking out the building.
It's over. It's over.
Facts. If we're still doing the same, if we're using the same Zach LaVine, Vince Carter argument, Nate and Spud, fantastic. Yeah. But the things Nate could do in game. In the contest,
Spud needs that modern day. He needs that modern day technology. He didn't have all that cracking. They still want to get their ankles taped like that back in the day. They still, playing the janky low top and shit. They didn't have all the stuff that Nate had access to.
Right, but so if you meet them both, you probably get that nod to Spud on how skinny and small Spud is and how big and yoked Nate is. You'd be like, okay, I can see how he getting up like that. When you look at Spud, his feet are real small. He's got skinny legs. And you like, golly, that dude is Spud looks small. Nate is small, but Spud actually looks small.
Yeah, I mean, Nate was a cornerback. Like, he's not like small. Like small. You know?
Yeah, he was a beast, man. We played him at UCLA in basketball. That dude was fucking. He like he'd be guarding you. He'd be like, oh, who's this little dude? But he like being up, locking up, like beating shit. Yeah. Like, remember he called like a tip jam against like NC State or some shit back in the day. That was one of like the nastiest things that I've seen. But that dude could go.
All right.
So Chris, you got Vince, real quick. You got Vince, Mike, Zach. Who's the fourth, man?
My fourth?
Dunk contest? Dunk contest or dunkers?
Dunk contest.
I would say dunk contest. Yeah, dunk contest winners. Yeah. Dunk
contest winners. I got a surprise. I don't think it's a surprise. I go Jason Richardson.
Jay Rich was nice.
Jay Rich.
Jay Rich probably got before Aaron Gordon. Jay Rich definitely had the best dunk in the dunk contest that didn't win.
Y'all cold audience, bro. Y'all cold audience, bro. Y'all cold, man. Hey, Zach, if you ever see this, man, unbelievable dunker. But Aaron, if you ever see this, make sure you don't follow neither one of these individuals.
Already followed me.
Aaron, I got you up there, Aaron. I got you before I got Jordan up there. Come on, bro. Y'all killing me, man. Y'all killing me, bro. I love his airness. That's my dude. But come on, go dunk for dunk. Dude, come on, man. The dude jumped over a damn mascot underneath the legs.
Under the legs, crazy. Yeah, under legs thing for.
And I must ask this thing. So I'm gonna try to get y'all fourth, but I got a good question to follow that back with. So, Randy, who's your fourth?
Dunk contest winners, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Vince, Mike.
Good.
Jay Rich is tough though, man. Nobody talks about Jay Rich like that as far as dunk contest. They forget about him. I think Zach. I don't want Ced to get mad at me, so I'll put Zach up there. And I mean, does Dominique get up there? Does Dominique get in?
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
You go back and watch some of them Dominique dunks. Very mid. Very
You got to put
very mid. Bro.
See, Dominique birthed everybody else who ever did a windmill. He started that, and he mastered it, and then Penn State got other things. But as far as in-game dunks, I got to go Dominique, Vince.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's
easily.
Sean Kemp,
Sean Kemp. Oh my God.
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp. God damn. Whoa.
I'll throw a name out there for y'all.
Sean Kemp should have won the dunk contest.
Mace had a hell of a run, man.
Yeah.
I gotta go LeBron on it.
I gotta say Sean Kemp's best in-game dunk is when he got an offensive foul against Detroit.
Oh my God.
Oh my! Like that's better than the Alvin, the one he pointed and dunked on.
Oh, the Alton Lister.
Yeah, that one he did on Lambeer. He got an offensive foul because he went behind the back off of Joe Dumars and all them, and I was like, oh my God! But he got an offensive foul, but it was bananas, man.
I'm gonna say this. Yeah. I think we all can agree the worst dunk contest person there is
Darryl Armstrong.
I don't know, man. Antonio Harvey, Tim Perry. Antonio Harvey, Tim Perry, and Darryl Armstrong. That's the Mount Rushmore right there.
Yo, you can't give him my dog Birdman neither. Birdman.
Darryl Armstrong did a layup in the dunk. That's all you gotta know.
Yeah,
that's all you gotta know. So, who is the one guy that we didn't mention was Desmond Mason? Desmond Mason, y'all.
Yeah.
Desmond Mason.
Yeah, Mason was like a shining star in like a very dark period during the dunk contest when they was doing like weird shit like spinning the wheel and doing all those things. Like throughout all that garbage, he still managed to like have some pretty memorable dunk contests. But he, you know what I mean? It doesn't really work as well when like he's not as good of a player. You know what I'm saying? Like it's weird like that. Like you can have some great dunk contests, not some great dunks, but like if your game don't match up, like it's easily forgettable.
It's the same as like in game. I mean, like Darius Miles has some sick in game dunks, but like we can't remember a jump shot that he ever hit.
Yo, Chris, you mentioned D Mason, Josh Smith too.
You know who has looks? I think Randy posted this. Somebody posted this on my Twitter one day, and I saw it. Stromile Swift. Bro. Stromile.
Talking about him.
I can't about nobody.
Stromile Swift might have a top 10 in-game dunk package.
Yeah.
What about Green?
Gerald Green.
Yeah. I got to go Green over Mason and Richardson. I'm going Green.
Gerald Green, man.
Dude,
wow.
Yeah, we a lot of us are definitely sleeping on Blake Griffin as well. Like,
oh my God. Wait, hold on. I don't think Blake had a great dunk contest.
No, I'm talking in game.
Oh yeah, in game. Yeah, but that one Gerald Green, the Gerald Green got in New Jersey, the windmill line. But man,
neck on the rim, dog.
As a matter of fact, Ced, I know you played against him. I need you to tell me how good or great of an in-game dunker Larry Johnson was in his prime.
Nah, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was better. No. I thought he was better in college on dunking. Because when he messed his back up, that really took a lot of him out of him. Even though he had those 2-3 years in Charlotte where he was piking on cats, but not really. He was dunking on. Let me see. It was more crafty because he could maneuver the ball more than him just rising up over people. You know what I'm saying? And he was so strong. And then when you got the intimidation factor, like people that fake ass defense, like you want to jump but you don't want to jump type of shit. Like that's like he got that off of intimidation a lot. But when his back went out, that's when he had to be a little bit more crafty.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all one that's funny to me. The funniest, like top 3, and it's still funny to me when Tom Chambers when he dunked on Mark Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's ugly.
Put his knees in the dude's neck.
Hey, the hood the L that day, bro.
They got a statue of that in the Sun's office.
Oh,
word.
Yeah. They got a statue of it or something. But
Hey.
Mark said he always lifted him up, but he did. But still, they got a statue of it in the Sun's office, man. It's crazy.
That was rude. Some of these old, like they've been showing a bunch of these old games on NBA TV the last couple of weeks, and some of these cats was getting some dunks off in the game on people, and it was just like all content. It was just, you didn't like Sean Kemp had one on what was the game I was watching today? Sean Kemp had one on like Mario Ellie, and it was just like I don't know why Mario Ellie jumped, but it was like all body. Like now cats are just for because this is the thing now guys are rarely get dunked on because they're not trying to be on Instagram 15 minutes late.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't blame them. But yeah, back in the day they had some crazy contact.
Yeah, and
in-game dunker
Amari too.
Amari. Yeah, Amari had, but this thing is like I mean, we're gonna get into it about like if people didn't get hurt, but like Amari came out the gate just bamming on Cavs. Like
I don't know who the dude is in Golden State, but that one he got in Golden State.
Donald
Oliver.
Is that Foyle? Number
Tolliver.
44?
Tolliver.
Yeah.
Anthony Tolliver, you're right.
Oh my God.
Nasty.
So I gotta ask Josiah this because obviously Joe brings all the jokes. For you, if like social media was big when Kendrick Perkins got done by blood, how many memes do you make behind that?
I mean, you can probably get 2 or 3 off easy. I mean, it's really just being in the moment and really getting it. But that's what like Wells was saying before. Like dudes nowadays, it's a business decision. You go, you get yammed on. That's millions and millions of views for somebody like myself. So I can only imagine what's going through these dudes' heads nowadays when they're playing defense and these young kids especially. I think it's kind of fucked up the game a little bit, but it is what it is. I hope it's making guys play harder too and trying to avoid those situations.
Yeah, I mean, it's even to the point of like rec leagues. Like everybody got a camera these days. I'm not trying to be on. You'll never dunk on me. That's
do you remember the time I think it was Jordan Crawford banged on Braun and that became like the lost tapes of dunk videos where like everybody's like, yo, I saw it, like my friend had to show it to me on a cell phone, like it couldn't like it was that crazy because a guy like Braun, and just now, I mean, I think now he's a little bit better about that, and a lot of people should be. It's like whatever, everybody gets dunked on. But it's like you got Josiah, you got like Filet, you got like, all these guys that just, as soon as something happens, the first thing I'm looking for is what I was gonna say about it. Somebody gets crossed, I want to see Filet, do the tween cross tween. Like I want to see all that stuff. And I think in some way, shape, or form, I mean, I'm just so super guessing at this point. I feel like some of the athletes should take that in stride now because it happens to everyone.
Everybody,
like, oh man, this is gonna be the thing that everybody talks about for the next like year or two. Like, nah, like people there's literally somebody new getting when the games are on, there's literally somebody new getting dunked on every week. And until like somebody else topped that, nobody cared anymore, So people aren't as scared as they were,
Okay, so there's one dunk. I know there's one dunk that if it went down, it would still be talked about on a daily basis. If Braun got that dunk on Draymond in Game 7,
oh my God!
If he got that one,
bro, I was talking about this. They just showed the game on ESPN the other night. I was like, listen, if Braun finished that dunk, he could have retired right then and there.
Right there,
retired right then and there. Like, there's nothing. You don't need to prove nothing to me anymore, dog. Like,
you put somebody in the rim. You put somebody in the rim in a Game 7, and that would have won the game. Like,
and won, and the foul. Like, nah.
Game 7.
Oh my God, Andre, and like you got to remember the
Draymond,
with, with the hitting them in the nuts and like all these other things. Like, yo, if that is the mic drop of mic drops, dog, I'm done.
That would get more played in the block. That would get way more played in the block that he got.
Or and the shot.
In the shot. Yeah.
Yo, that funny dunk with I know Kaz would know. Ricky Davis on Steve Nash too was hilarious.
On the back joint.
Bro, I asked Steve Nash about that. Steve said he legitimately tried to draw a charge, and he said that he thought Ricky was gonna let up, and Ricky just kept going. And bro, Ricky started screaming. Ricky dunked him and started screaming, and it was like everybody went crazy.
No, that ain't fair. That ain't fair to Nash, man. He ain't no dunker or or a great defender like that. You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's different when you go Braun and Draymond. You know what I'm saying? It's different like that. The craziest one that I saw that didn't happen was Kobe's rookie year at the Forum in practice. Like Eddie, like we going half court. We going half court plays. 5-on-5. Eddie dished it to Kobe and he tried a 360 on Shaq and like you know how you dunk it too hard and you go. That's what happened. Like he tried to dunk it too hard. Like he already made the twist and then was like, okay, let me bring it way back. And I'm talking like Shaq full extension tried to get it, but he ended up missing it.
Man,
wow.
So that still stick with me.
All right, so shout out to Wells for bringing up the next topic. So this topic here is kind of cool because there's always been a player that we see had a great start, but unfortunately injury or unfortunately untimely deaths happen, and we've had that happen. So this question was a fan question I brought along. So when names like this come to mind, Derrick Rose, Grant Hill, Penny, Len Bias, Drazen Petrovic, are there any guys that you guys can think of that what if? And what would they be? Who would you consider one of the greatest? I mean, a lot of these guys are still considered some of the greats, but like, who would be that guy? If
Penny, to me,
Penny?
Penny was Magic Johnson and like Grant Hill, and he was amazing. And he got robbed of his talents like just way too early. I feel like Grant Hill would be like 1A for me because I got to see Grant Hill like at his peak, and then Grant Hill was a great serviceable player towards the end of his career, but Penny was like came out of we had never even heard of Penny before of Blue Chips, and he just kind of came out of nowhere and took over the league. And he went head to head with Jordan, even though it was just coming back Jordan. But Jordan, Penny to me is the guy is like the biggest what if. Grant Hill's 1A and Brandon Roy is 2.
Right.
I would say I'll remix the question a little bit, just as far as like, because I would just say, as a player, probably Grant Hill, just because he's more built like today's NBA players, just as far as like being able to do everything. But just as a fan, as somebody I loved watching at his full powers, Derrick Rose, bro, like D Rose he played like if you could like survey a bunch of people and be like, yo, who's the one person you would want to play like regular Joe, right? Like you're 6'2" regular guy. Like a lot of people probably say Steph Curry, and a lot of people probably say prime D Rose because he was quicker than everybody. He was almost too athletic for his own body. It's like it was almost like if he was like 6'6", 6'7", he becomes like one of the greatest players ever. But it was like he had all the athleticism in like a smaller frame, and he just jumped harder and more violent and faster and just score. And just the way he played just looked so like poetic. Like he would just float for hours, like in the air, like and the fact that he played in Chicago and played for his hometown team, and like his whole backstory about being like, coming from Simeon, and it's he's the one guy that I'm just like, man, and winning MVP at what, 22, 23 years old, super young. It's like, bro, if he would have got his body right or stayed right or didn't come back too early or too late or any of that stuff, man. And mind you, he's doing pretty good now. Like he's almost on the same sort of like Grant Hill career path where like injuries kind of derailed him, but now he's kind of settling into like this very good NBA player, not a great player, but a very good NBA player. Man, D Rose was my guy, bro. Even when he played for the Knicks, like I was so happy we got him because I'm like, yo, I know he still got something in there. I know he do. But yeah, I would say Derrick Rose.
Randy?
It's funny because I just did a show last week and I put out today on the Grant Hill era in Detroit. And for me, my 1A, 1B would be Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady. I agree with Penny. I agree with D Rose, but you got to think back when Grant Hill, in his prime, 6 years in Detroit, he goes to Orlando as a free agent. Now we know the story of him. It could have been him, Tim Duncan, and T-Mac in Orlando. And that could have been the new dynasty in the Eastern Conference. So Duncan does not go there, but you get Grant Hill there. I'm not. He might have been. I think he got the first ankle injury that playoffs against Miami, but we didn't know what kind of severity that it was going to be. So now you go play with T-Mac in Orlando, and then you got these two guys still in their prime together, and you're like, man, this team can actually make the finals or actually win the finals. And unfortunately, you got zero of that because Grant Hill got hurt in that first year with Orlando, probably played 4 games. T-Mac was balling in Orlando without Grant Hill. And just them getting hurt, man, it's not like they had an injury and they came back a couple of weeks later and they're good. These were monumental career-ending injuries that Grant Hill could have won a championship maybe in Orlando with T-Mac. T-Mac could have won a championship by himself in Orlando, even with Houston with Yao Ming. So I fuck with Penny, I fuck with D-Roy, even a guy like C. Webb and those guys too, B-Roy. But for me, in my time, Grant Hill and T-Mac could have been world champions today, but unfortunately, they're not because of injuries.
Man, Josiah?
Man, I'm not gonna say all the same names y'all said, even though I agree with all those dudes. I'm gonna throw another crazy name out there, Ced Ceballos. So I remember when he first came in the league at like 31, obviously he had the janky knees, and we kind of saw he was a shadow in the shell of his former self. But my pops was telling me stories about playing against him back in the day. Said the dude was like dunking from free throw line, running the break, dimes like magic, So I wish, like when I look back at it, I wish I would have been able to see, him in his youth before all the shit happened. But yeah, obviously all the guys you guys say too. Another name I'll throw out there is Hank Gathers. Yeah. Just from the standpoint of I was actually funny. I was living in Italy when my dad was playing overseas in 89, 90 when all that shit went down. But seeing LMU was like 10 minutes from the crib in LA. So just seeing that team, and this was back in the day when obviously small schools, they weren't shit. They would just get ran through, if they were playing powerhouses and juggernauts. But to see what these dudes had cracking over there in Marina Del Rey, Westchester area, it's how turned up they were. I would have loved to see it. And even the impact it had on Bo Kimball's career afterwards, obviously seeing some shit like that's hard to come back from as a hooper. But I imagine if Hank was still here, those dudes would have got together at some point in the league, formed a juggernaut small ball crew. We would have seen them really do some work.
Yeah, you played the game, so anybody come to mind for you?
Yeah, I got a top 5. They all have passed on or had drug problems.
Okay.
My number 1, I know y'all young, but y'all might not know how effective Len Bias was. Oh my God! And plus, he was going to an already championship team, Boston. You feel me? You got to make that factor. Like I hear you talking about T-Mac and Grant and Tim Duncan playing together, and they probably would have been a dynasty. I don't think so because they both needed the basketball. T-Mac and Grant. I don't think that would have worked. That's probably was the problem why they kept getting eliminated, regardless of Grant Hill's ankle. And then I got to go Chicago. Ben Simmons. Ooh.
Benji.
No, Benji. What's his last name?
Wilson.
Ben Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson.
Yeah, man. Just that's Grant Hill. Before Grant Hill was Grant Hill. All that could handle it. It was real nice. Then I go with you on that side with Hank Gathers. Because to lead the NCAA in rebounding and scoring, that's beast mode right there. That's beast mode. Only one other person that's done that. That's Xavier Daniels. Just crazy. And then with my 2 on the drug problem, Lloyd Daniels. Sweet Pea was bananas. I mean, if Magic had a jump shot, that'd be Sweet Pea.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? If Magic had a jump shot, that'd be Sweet Pea. And then my old teammate Richard Dumas just couldn't. They just both couldn't put that thing down, man. But
I was gonna ask about him. Yeah, like he was on my list too. And actually, what's a really bad stroke of luck for the Celtics? Do you know that they drafted Len Bias and Reggie Lewis in back-to-back years?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
That would be the craziest dynasty ever, bro.
Yeah,
I don't think the Bulls will have 6 rings because of that. Legitimately.
No, I mean they probably wouldn't have the 91 or 90. It would definitely be Celtics Lakers, in the going into the 90s.
So one name that I had that it relates more closely to Dallas was Roy Tarpley.
Roy Tarpley. Yeah.
Roy Tarpley. I always hear the stories about Roy Tarpley being this amazing player, and like you look at his numbers, and you're like, okay. And then I hear the stories like, yeah, man, if Roy Tarpley didn't have his issues, he would have been a problem.
Yeah.
Serious problem. And I just think like, man, what if that really would have happened? But man, there's some good names there, man. I like the Sabonis one, but another one for me would have been Drazen Petrovic. Considering now the league has a guy like Luka and the phenomenon of Luka, I just wonder if social media was around in those late 80s and early 90s when Drazen was playing, would it be the same thing? Because Drazen, go ahead.
Well, with Drazen, I think the difference is like he needed picks and he needed somebody to give him the ball. They didn't run no ISOs for Drazen. You know what I'm saying? He didn't just like break you down. Like that's the argument we always have about Reggie Miller. Like, how's Reggie Miller first ballot and this, that, and the other.
Somebody agrees with me.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that he's first ballot. You know what I'm saying? I do believe he's first ballot because of who he went in with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a big key right there, who you go in with. But the same sense, we not ISOing those two and just taking over a team. He's a great piece to a wonderful team. You know what I'm saying? He's a great piece to a wonderful team. But if you put him on a terrible team by themselves, you know, that's how I always judge if this person could be great. If you just put him by himself, where would they go? Like everybody always say, you know, when we go in the Lakers squad, I still think Worthy's a Hall of Famer. I definitely know Kareem's a Hall of Famer. And I definitely know Magic is a Hall of Famer if they don't have each other. Now, if you go Boston, Mikal may get in, Bird may get in, Parrish is not getting in. Parrish not getting in. You know what I'm saying? That's just not happening. And I don't know if the same thing goes with Chicago. I definitely might get in. Does Dennis get in without Detroit or, you know, being by himself? He's not in Detroit. He's not in Chicago. And does Scotty get in just by himself? You know what I mean? The first ballot. And that, you know, I think Scotty gets in. You know, I think he can hold.
I think Scotty for sure.
I think he can hold a team down by himself. You know, just like Mitch Richmond, you know, held it down in sack for all those years, you know, having all that ability and just held it down. And even your pops, you know what I'm saying? Josiah, you know, holding down Milwaukee, even though he had a lot of defensive crews, he had post-up players, but just somebody who, if you take out of that system, could they hold it down by themselves and still be as dangerous? And that's what I think that's my classification of being a Hall of Famer.
Okay. So you spoke about the overrated. You know how I feel about Reggie Miller. And the reason why I always say about the overrated, underrated thing with him is this. Reggie Miller was a 5-time All-Star, I believe, 4 or 5-time All-Star. He never once averaged over 20.
But that's because of Jordan. He in the same position as Jordan.
No. Because I'm going to say this. The reason why I'm going to hold that against him, during his time, guys like Terrell Brandon, guys like B.J. former strongman All-Star team.
Who?
Even when Jordan retired. So that's what I'm saying, the first time. But my thing with Reggie is this. Somebody asked me the other day on Twitter, who would you take, Reggie Miller or Klay Thompson? And I said Klay Thompson with ease.
But Reggie, but Reggie, it's like, again, we talking about Reggie birthed Klay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Klay is not the shooter that he is if he doesn't watch Reggie. It's kind of like the Vince and Zach thing, because he okay, this is how Reggie did it. I can get it off quicker than that. You know what I'm saying? I could get my shot off quicker than that. I could shoot, you know, like I got in trouble a couple years ago because everybody used to be blasting me because I was like, yo, Steph wouldn't be Steph in my era. And this is the reason why I say his skills, he would have the same skills. But the fact that a big guy like Oakley, Anthony Mason, Otis Thorpe, they fight and get their teeth knocked out, get a rebound, and hand it to a little dude who's making 4, 5, 6 times as they do, and he walks across half court and shoots a jumper. It's a fight at halftime. It's a fight in the huddle. That just doesn't go in our era. In my era, that does not go. You can't allow that to happen. And I'm not taking away from his skills. He would have been an all-star. He would have been a Hall of Famer. But the shot that he take, it would have been policed. It would have been policed by the big man who sacrificed. They only making 100, 200,000, and he probably would be making 3, 4 million, and they're getting their teeth knocked out and this, that, and other. Because I have seen it happen. I played my rookie year with Tom Chambers, and Kurt Rambis.
I mean, I gotta step in on that one.
Tom starts shooting crazy shots. Oh, Kurt Rambis of all people, like, what the F are you doing? Like, look, I'm not getting my head taken off for a couple $100,000 so your $4 million ass can shoot whatever shot. I need to win these games because I need this playoff money. I need to woo, this, that, and the other. And that's why I think that he would be dangerous, but the shots from 30, 40, 50 feet, the shot clock, not, you know what I'm saying? Even Kobe, even the shots that Kobe made, like they showed the other day when the night he had 60. He did a 360 in the corner and knocked down a three with 13 seconds on the shot clock. You know what I'm saying? Like those shots right there in our era, those big men who were not making a lot of money would be so pissed and upset that as soon as they go in the locker room, and they have done it before. Xavier McDaniels have fought his own teammate. Michael Cage fought his own teammate because they battle and they not getting paid nothing. But then the superstars are shooting shots at whatever, like whatever you want to shoot, go ahead and shoot.
I would make the argument that, with Steph and even to Kobe's extent, Steph really wasn't taking those like 40-foot bombs up until Oklahoma City, that one game when they won that MVP season. And like that was to win the game. You know what I mean?
No, that was a legitimate shot. That's a legitimate shot. It was tied up. If he makes it, great. If he doesn't make, just like the one LeBron took in the All-Star game. I'm with that. I'm with that long shot if you can make that. But what I'm saying is, it's like the era. Like everybody always tell me, could LeBron play in our era? LeBron is Karl Malone in my era. He's the same height. He's the same strength. It's going to be a coach that go, man, you shoot one more jump shot, you're coming out of the game. You dribble the ball up the full court, you're coming out of the game. Get your back to the basket. We're going to throw it into you.
So let me tell you, if that coach told LeBron to get his behind in the basket, that coach would be right next to me talking about basketball.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Listen, that's what I'm saying. That's Karl Malone. LeBron James is Karl Malone in the new era. If they allow Karl to dribble the ball and handle and shoot jump shots, that's what LeBron James is. So
Karl can't handle the ball and shoot jump shots
because why? When he was a kid, the coach told him, get your back to the basket, and he did a great job at it. He's the second leading all-time scorer. I'm not talking about somebody that's shabby. I'm not talking Michael K. I'm not saying Michael K is shabby, but he's not no LeBron or Karl Malone. I'm saying in the era of teaching, we weren't taught to shoot like I think I managed. I didn't even start shooting threes till you have to absolutely leave me open. Now in my era, and everybody always said you a kill in this league right now. I said, nah, I don't even think I'll make the league because I couldn't shoot the three. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't shoot the three. Going to the basket, they'd be like, oh, no. We don't need nobody slashing and sneaking behind the backboard and doing all that. We need somebody to stretch that defense, light it up. And I'm 6'7", so I'm looking at Ben Simmons. I'm trying to guard Ben Simmons and LeBron James. At the point, I'm like, oh, man, it's over with for me. You know what I mean? To be realistic, it's over with for me. This era right here, the teachers that taught the kids when this era coming up, it's unbelievable. They weren't teaching that. You know what I'm saying? But what you could attest to this. Every time I see KD, he doesn't believe me, but I tell him, you are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with a jump shot and a crossover. And he is.
Yeah.
They the same
that makes
height.
a lot of difference though. Like that's like
I know that's a good thing. But he's trying to tell me, you're trying to tell me the all-time leading scorer, the best player to ever play this game. The coach wouldn't have been like, get your ass on the back. John wouldn't. John was like, post your ass up. That's what I'm saying. If Kareem starts shooting jump shots, John Wooden would have lost his mind. What the fuck is going on? Now you got Porzingis, same height, letting it fly. KD, same height, letting it fly. That's what I'm saying. The elevation of basketball has gone from a long way where these kids are like the first time, like I don't know if y'all been around kids now. When they come in the gym, the first thing they do, start hosting up threes. When we were taught,
from 30
the
feet.
first thing you do is get under the basket and you get 10 of these in, right up underneath the basket. You do the mic and drill. You do the mic and drill until you get warmed up. You know what I'm saying? The first thing they do, they tie their shoes up. They don't even stretch. They start lighting up threes. Even the pros, when they start shooting before the game, they don't start out with layups. They start out with threes. They want the three to be the new layup.
All
Well,
right.
I mean, even said if you go back 15 years too, like nowadays kids just want to shoot 30-foot jump shots when they get in the gym. Even back in the day, they just want to do the crossover like AI.
Yeah.
They're focused all on the crossover, then they got no jump shot either.
Man.
Straight
Right
brick.
or wrong.
No, it's real shit.
You
So
got all
I'm
that handle, you can't shoot.
That's
Yeah.
true. So I'm gonna start off with Randy on this, and then Joe come behind him and Wells. When you think about underrated players, the one player that always comes to my mind is a guy like Mahmoud. I just think he's vastly
Cold.
Problem.
underrated. Vastly.
Cold.
Randy, I know
Yo.
you got plenty of good names, and Kaz, I know you do Josiah as well from Wells and said, but give me a guy that you consider an underrated player that you watch in your lifetime.
I think two guys in my era growing up. One you mentioned was Rauf. Even back in college with LSU, just seeing Chris Jackson do what he did as a freshman in college, playing with Shaq, averaging 30 a game, and to me at that time the best shooter I seen in the NBA. Can handle everything you see Steph Curry do now and Trae Young do now. You combine both, and you get Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. It's just like Mahmoud wasn't he wasn't shooting the threes as what Steph does and what Trae Young does now. If Mahmoud was in today's game, Mahmoud will be averaging 30 a game, probably even more.
He be Pistol Pete.
Yeah. And I think one other guy that doesn't get mentioned a whole lot for me is a guy like Mark Price. I know he's a very throwback name, but for me, the guy that can him and Mahmoud were two of the best guards in that decade that don't get mentioned a lot. Because you have Isaiah Stockton, Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, so on and on, Iverson. But Mark Price and Mahmoud will get lost. Ross Strick and Mark Jackson. Those two guards get lost in the shuffle. I know Mark Price made an all-star team a couple times, but still, he's the guy that doesn't get his just due, man. A guy that can split two defenders into shot or layup, something that you wasn't seeing back then as much. He kind of revolutionized that. Again, I'm talking about my era, but a guy that can shoot, fast, great point guard. Did well with the Cavaliers, took them to conference finals many times. But again, this Michael Jordan stopped them and everything. But for me, I'm going Mahmoud and Mark Price.
That's good. Joe.
I'm gonna throw a name out. He gets love, but you mentioned him too, Randy. I'm gonna go with Gary Payton. I think GP, he gets the respect and love, but he don't get it like he deserved. That dude was a straight beast, straight D, shit talking, like the most shit talking dude I think I've ever seen. But my pops used to work for the Sonics back in the day, and he used to just tell me all these stories of him and George Karl just cussing each other out during the game, but would go out and perform and produce. And a difficult dude to fucking play with. Like if you didn't bring it, he'll cut your ass out and try to take your manhood from you. But a guy now I think about nowadays that the name doesn't get brought up a lot, kind of get the respect because at a point he was that dude, man. He was locking dudes up, getting buckets, obviously getting dimes. Put Seattle basketball really on the map. Him and Sean Kemp. So I think a guy that probably deserves more love in my mind.
Man,
I agree.
I got two. My first one is Adrian Dantley. Adrian Dantley was so good, and he scored like 30 a game for like 4 or 5 straight years. It was just a walk-in bucket, and it was just so crazy that it took him so long to get into the Hall of Fame. And he was putting up he's kind of like a Steph Curry kind of player back in his day, like just pull up, shoot anywhere. Mid-range game was crazy. He started, he wasn't, threes weren't what they were now, but he was still, prolific from there. My second dude is Chris Mullin. Chris Mullin don't get talked about at all. Like, I mean, dude was a dream teamer. He was super nice when he played for with the Warriors. He was nice in college too at St. Did him and Mark Jackson play together at St. John's?
Yeah, St. John's.
And Indiana too. Indiana.
Yeah, in Indy also. But his time in Golden State, like with him and Mitch and Tim Hardaway, he was so good. I mean, like if you talk about a 3-point shooter, like you don't ever hear his name brought up in catch and shoot, and he could get his shot off on anybody. He was James. He was what James Harden does now. Step back, side step, three, yap, all over the court. So yeah, I would go with those two.
I got two guys, man. One is Clyde Drexler, who, you know, back in the day, I mean, clearly, you know, him and MJ are on two different levels. But I mean, just if you just give somebody a blind resume, you know what I mean? You got, you know, college success, NBA championship, innovated the game as a slasher. There's footage of him taking off from the free throw line. Like, he couldn't really shoot a lick, but like, just as far as accomplishments go, and when we go through the annals of like great swingmen throughout the NBA's history, we really don't, you know, give him his just due. And the guy that I think, you know, we're talking about people who, you know, kind of push the game forward as far as style wise. Gilbert Arenas was like a generation too early. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was in the league now, dude, he's a guy.
Not his contract.
No, yo.
Yeah, like contract, still get paid. Like
that contract was way before his time.
Because a lot of people, you know, I think he'd probably get like shooed away because of, you know, the gun stuff and like all like the shenanigans that he was doing, like as a member of the Wizards. But we want to talk about walking buckets and people pulling up from deep and being able to drop 30 on you. Like, you know, he put up 60 on Kobe in the Staples Center and took a bow at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was talking mad shit. And he was just a showman, calling himself the hibachi, throwing the shot up, turning around before it goes in. Like, that's a guy that was just a generation too early, like 5 or 6 years before then, and he's a megastar.
You know, I got one more that and Ced played with him, Eddie Jones. Jones, mad underrated. He was a generation ahead of his time too, and I feel like now Eddie would have been like, I mean, slasher, long. Eddie used to catch mad bodies on people too.
Yeah, and I heard that, like, you know, they got Kobe and they played the same position. And, you know, I used to play NBA Live with them all the time and just try to make it work as your wings. Like, why would you want them as your forward pair? Like, why'd one have to go, you know?
Yeah,
so
I think if the Lakers had to do it all over again, they would have kept Eddie Jones and not for the 1 year Glenn Rice rental.
Man.
Right.
Yeah, Glenn Rice too, man.
Glenn Rice. Yeah. So you played against a lot of players, man. Anybody come to mind that you think that, you know, underrated?
I'm gonna stick with the whole Muslim thing on this thing, and I know my list just happens to be all three of them be Muslims. I'm gonna stick with you and the Chris Jackson, Mahmoud. Unbelievable, super quick. I think he quicker than Trey. I think he quicker than Steph, especially on the release.
Right.
I thought his crossover and his moves is just, you just couldn't stick with a dude, and you know, and then you add the 3-pointer to that, just crazy. Sharif Abdul-Rahim, oh my God, problem. He just had the bad knees and he went to Vancouver. and, you know what I'm saying? So you put him in a good situation with good coaches and not Vancouver. You know, he's not a nightlife kind of guy, so that didn't really appeal to him. And it's always rainy up there, so you put him in a sunshine state, and I think he really just goes bananas like he did when he was in Cal. And then when it comes to the center position, you know, everybody always forget about this dude, but he's bananas probably because he's 6'11". But Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, and I talked to him about him before when he made me cry when he lost. But and I just think this, as far as centers, they always go Chamberlain and Jabbar and Shaq and David and Tim and all this, and you know, whatever they want to say. But man, he was both ends, could pass it. Not really a bomber when it's claimed to shooting, but inside 15 feet, you just didn't back off of him. Obviously, we know the dream shakes and the intensity of them. Defensive wise, man, and then an all around great dude. So I didn't mean to stay on the whole, you know, Muslim tip, but all three of those gentlemen right there were problems. And probably if, you know, Mahmoud didn't, you know, which is, let me break that down real quick if I can. The Mahmoud situation, you know, screw whoever the dude was, because Mahmoud did that all the time. He did it all the time. But some little effing reporter want to try to make a name for themselves, and that's when they did it. And Danny Ainge did it. Danny Manning did it. You know what I'm saying? They all left during the anthem. But because of the, you know, the religion and that whole thing, you know, and then like again, somebody who just wanted to Proc and Mahmoud was not the most nice guy who would, you know, give you the full on answer, you know, and plus he had Tourette. So that's, you know, that's probably why he had a problem with speaking to the media. Somebody just tweaked at him the wrong way and they go ahead and they do that. And that was, you know, kind of wrong. And then with Hakeem, like I said, just because, you know, his championships was only 2 and the numbers and all that, man, he was very dangerous. And Sharif is just, I just thought was drafted to the wrong place and didn't get the teaching and didn't get the upbringing as a great player.
All right, cool. So I know you guys got to get out of here, but I got one more question for you guys. And this is something that I see in the mentions a couple people are asking. So I posted a picture of 2 teams from the past. And I'm going to ask you guys in the 7-game series, the 96 Bulls, who won 72 games. You know, Jordan, Robin, Pippen, Kukoc, the list goes on. The 2001 Lakers, young Kobe, Shaq. Phil Jackson coached both of these teams, obviously. You got Derek Fisher. The list goes on. Josiah made a joke about Ron Harper. One of y'all made a joke about Ron Harper. But y'all need to quit that. But I'm going to ask you guys, in a dream matchup, who wins this in the 7-game series?
Lakers in 7.
Lakers in 7.
Lakers in 7.
Why?
I think Lakers in 7. One, you know, I look at the matchups, right? So, like I told Josiah, I was like, Ron Harper is like that Spider-Man meme pointing at each other because they started, so they equal each other out, right? You don't
have to go down the lineup. You could just say his name. It's 4 letters. You just say his name.
Who?
Shaq.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting there. But I'm saying
nobody else matters.
Everybody matters. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing that Dennis Rodman nor Luke Longley is going to do with Shaq.
Nothing.
Right? So all they have to do is if Shaq gets the ball, Shaq will put up the same numbers he puts up in every finals, 35 and 14, right? Like it's going to be, that's all day. And then, you know, Pippen, I don't know if Pippen at 2001 Kobe, we saw it. He's not sticking with Kobe.
No, but you put Mike and Kobe, they equal each other out.
Yeah. But then now you still got Derek Fisher in 01 was lights out from 3. So you got perimeter. The Bulls didn't have as great of perimeter shooting as the Lakers in 01 did. Everybody in the Lakers in 01 was hit. You had Fisher, you had who am I missing?
Robert Horry.
Who?
Robert Horry.
Robert Horry. There we go. Robert Horry, Devin George. All those guys were playing out of their mind in that series. Right. So if we're talking about and that team went 15 or 16-1, and the one game they lost was in overtime.
Yeah. So you got obviously Scotty's going to be better than Robert and anybody else you named on that squad.
Yeah.
But you said Derek Fisher. Now Harper is on both squads. So how do you equalize that? Because Harper guards Derek Fisher, and Derek doesn't go off like he goes off. But I think what it really boils down to is, you know, Shaquille O'Neal. It just nothing. It's nobody on the full squad that would equalize.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Kobe and Mike, they go back and forth. Derek is not going to hit what Harper. Harper is not going to hit with Derek. But Scotty obviously has an advantage. That's going to help the Bulls out a little bit. But I think Shaq is just going to be a little bit too much for Scotty and Dennis point-wise. Mm-hmm. And you know, at that point, Dennis is going to do something stupid.
Yep.
And
him and Tamaki Walker are going to get into it or something.
Yeah, like
all right. So Kaz, I know you're a Knicks fan, so I'm pretty sure you're going with the Lakers in this situation because you ready to say something. So go ahead, tell us.
I mean, you know what it is though, because I hear Ced talking about MJ and Kobe will go back and forth, and as great as Kobe was, I don't think he was at the height of his powers during that 2001 team, but MJ was at the height of his powers for that team. So I think MJ takes that. Pippen is better than any other wing player that they got by far. But I think it just goes down to those matchups, man. And if you remember a lot of those Bulls teams, they weren't like dog walking these Western Conference teams. They would be like 5-game series, 6-game series, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times they would have trouble with big guys, the Karl Malones of the world, the Sean Kemps of the world, those type of guys. And I've always been a believer, Cedric, you're probably like this. I've always been a believer that if they would have ran into one of those Rockets teams, it might have been a different story. I don't know if they get all 6 of those because Hakeem was on a different level at that point. And that's why I think I might want to go with the Lakers as well because, like you said, they went 15-1 that year. It was hard to take any of those guys down in the 7-game series. I mean, you could say you put Shaq on the line and hope that he misses free throws and you keep throwing like your Cartwrights and your Longleys and not Weddingtons. I guess Cartwright was on that team. I guess you throw those guys at him or whatever, and he got 12 free throws and maybe he misses a few, but Shaq's just a different animal, man. Like it's hard to beat that guy in 7 games. So
Bulls Rockets. Let me make my point before I get out of here. Bulls Rockets. Hakeem wouldn't have went for 70 to get the win. Michael would have went for 70 to get the win. So that's the difference right there. And then other players, they all I wouldn't say they equal each other out, but the reason why Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, everybody else they got off Kenny Smith is because you had the double dream. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the Bulls would go, okay, Dennis, you take him or whatever, Winnington or whoever got him, and let him get 35. Because I think that's where Keem is going to be like, I need to do something else. I got 35. But Mike would be like, no, I'm just going to go. See, that's the thing when we play Michael Jordan, and I know we got short time. We played Michael Jordan. Everybody used to be like, well, why don't you put Dan Marley on him? And we thought, why? Because he goes around everybody. So you want to have the your second defender that's coming to the double to be your best defender because he went by Richard Dumas. He went by KJ. He went by Ainge. You know, he going by whoever. All you're going to be looking at is the back of the jersey, 23 Jordan. So why don't you have the person that coming? And I don't know why people don't do that, especially when it comes to James Harden and when it comes to LeBron and Steph. They always put the best defender on them. They going by the best defenders, but that second person is the one who has to be the best defender because that's the one who's going to challenge the shot.
Yep.
Man, Randy Joe. So I know Joe's a quote unquote Lakers fan as of right now. He has made that clear because of LeBron. But
LeBron. Look, man.
Show. I appreciate y'all. Let's do this again, man. This is crazy. I'm sorry for the technical difficulty, but man, this was a blast. So knowledgeable. Tell Pops I said what's up, Jay, Callie.
For sure.
And KJ, everybody else too, man.
All right, bro.
All right, bro.
All right, so we're gonna finish this up, man. Joe, tell us who you got.
I mean, I got to go with the Lakers, even though I think, it's hard to root against Jordan no matter who he's going up against. But like y'all already said, Shaq's a beast. Ain't nobody fucking with him. Kobe's young at that point. I don't think he's locking up Jordan. I think he's getting a lot of buckets. He might be putting up a dub just because Shaq's opening up the court for him. But ain't nobody fucking with Shaq on that squad. Dennis Rodman might have been your best bet to do some funny shit to try and get him ejected or something like that. But other than that, they don't want that fade.
Who has home court?
Bulls, because they have 72 and 72.
Then I'm going with Chicago in 7.
Chicago in 7. I knew Randy was gonna go Chicago. See, Randy is a 90s
Of course.
Randy biased, man. I'm gonna call Randy out. Randy biased.
Listen, man, it is tough to go against Michael, bro. I don't care whatever is in. It's tough unless you're a Wizard Michael. But in that Chicago heyday, man, on that team, and like Cass said, man, Kobe was tough, but he wasn't the Kobe that we know later on. He wasn't Black Mamba Kobe.
I'm fighting that because that 0-1 playoffs, Kobe was a fucking animal.
He was like 30, right?
Of course he was. But who was guarding him? Who was trying to check him in those playoffs?
Numbers.
Well, hold on.
It's a leap. It's a leap in competition that got have Doug Christie and Peja Stojakovic guarding you to Michael Jordan at the height of his Jordanness. Like, bruh. I'm not saying Kobe wasn't balling that year.
No, but I'm saying
Kobe wasn't the Mamba yet.
Kobe was in a different zone that 2001 playoffs. So he was like 40 a game against the Spurs series. He was like 30 something a game in the what do you call it series? The Sacramento, the first round. And then he was like, I don't know what he did when in the finals. He was like 20 a game in probably in the finals or something like that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm fighting he wasn't where he needed to be at.
Nobody's saying he wasn't that dude. He was definitely balling, but he wasn't at the height of his powers like Jordan was at the height of his powers at that time.
Defensively, he was great. He had to go up. He had Tony Parker and Ginobili that he guarded. He had Iverson, and outside of game one, he pretty much held Iverson in check and made everybody else try to beat them. You know, the four games after game one weren't close at all.
Facts.
Man, I don't disagree. So we can end it there, but I had a little fun. I want y'all to get this out real quick. So y'all see this right here.
Team USA basketball. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask y'all this question. And Randy, you better be honest on this. You better be honest on this. Joe, y'all better not lie. Let me ask y'all a question.
Okay.
The 92 Dream Team versus the 2012 USA team. Who wins that?
The 2012 team?
Yes.
Oh, Dream Team. Dream Team smacks that team.
No, come
No?
on.
You said be honest, right?
Oh,
You said the 08. I think the 08 team was better than the 2012 team.
I think the 96 team was better than 92. If you're telling me
Whoa,
Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not saying they dog walk the dream team, but like I've been singing these praises for a long time, and now people are starting to come around. Like I know we all mythologize the dream team and whatnot, but like let's keep it real. We all know nobody knew who played for Angola except Angola was in trouble. Charles Barkley said that. And then by the time the 2012 team came around, they were playing against legitimate ball players, and they were still dog walking them. So like, no, we got prime Kobe, uber athletic LeBron, uber athletic Dwayne Wade, Westbrook, Harden. I mean, Durant. Like, listen, I know it's blasphemous to ever go against anything that has anything to do with Michael Jordan. But the 2012 Olympic team is the best assembled team of basketball talent ever. No questions asked. I'm sorry.
Okay, but the only thing I'll say is this, and that's the only question mark. On paper, you could say 08 and 12 is better than 92. And 08 and 12 have a lot of players or just about everybody that's in their prime, right? Yeah. If you go back to 92, the only question mark I have is this. If everybody was in their prime except Magic and Bird.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So my question is this. If you have that same team, but a prime Magic and a prime Bird to go with prime Jordan, Pippen, Robinson, Barkley, Malone, and you take out Christian Laettner, that's the question we got to ask.
Put Shaq in there.
But my counter to that, and I agree with you on the name and the talent part, but my question is this: defensively, who the hell is Magic and Bird going to guard? Because you can't Jordan and Kobe. We forgot Kobe was on this team. Kobe was on that team. We're talking about the Mamba in his zenith.
But 2012 team, Kobe was in year 16. I would rather.
Yeah, but hold on, Kobe in year 16. Hold on, Kobe in year 16 and Magic in year 9 or 10 at that time.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's why I think the 08 team, like, you're getting just lost in the finals to the Celtics, Kobe, who went ballistic in the playoffs, and you got 20 what is he, 23-year-old LeBron, 24-year-old Dwayne Wade, like these are that team.
We didn't name Melo.
Melo, the greatest decorated Olympic basketball player of all time.
The only reason why I'm putting 2012 because KD. Because if you throw KD in this equation, there is nobody on the USA team that is guarding KD. I don't care if you throw Pippen out there.
No.
You can't throw out everybody.
No. Yeah, I don't think that's I'm just saying, like, if I look at the two teams as their makeup, and if you say the slider is you get prime Magic and prime Bird, I'm taking that team every day.
See, I don't know, man, because my thing is this. I get it, and I agree with y'all because of Bird and Magic, but my thing is this. If you throw a line about with KD, LeBron, and Kobe, who is Magic Johnson and Larry Bird guarding? Like, that's not even like worst case scenario.
You don't have to, but that's the thing. You can do just like what Ced was saying. You can just let them blow by, and then you got at the rim, you got Ewing, Barkley, and David Robinson just sitting back there.
Yeah,
and Karl Malone.
Yeah, you got because then you throw up Tyson Chandler, and you're like, what the hell?
That's what I'm saying. No. But what I mean is, like, in '92, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone were in their fucking 20s. Like, they weren't old. Like, they were.
That's what I said.
29 years old. You know.
And I feel like
that's what I said. They got everybody in their prime.
Yeah.
we got robbed on that Dream Team for several reasons. Number one, Shaq wasn't there. Isaiah Thomas should have been there. Isaiah should have been there.
Facts. Isaiah,
Isaiah should have been there, man. Y'all know, man. Look, Jordan made that phone call. He had that one hoop earring. He said, "Say, bro, I ain't playing."
So if you say that, if you say Isaiah's on it, that means who comes off? Stockton comes off?
Mullen.
I'll take Stockton off over Isaiah. Yes, at that time, yes. At that time.
But you like Stockton was what you needed for a situation like that.
I get it, but like if you're just saying, hey, you're gonna throw the best talent out there.
Well, and then also but that's not even about the talent. Like Isaiah was fresh off of like trying to get Jordan fucking killed out there. Like, not the guy you want to send out for international relations. Like Isaiah would have definitely low bridged somebody or socked them in the face or something like that.
Because even the argument was made, and I think a guy that I was talking to Ced the other day, he was like, if you didn't have Dominique's situation, you could have made a case in 92.
Yeah,
Dominique could have been on that team over in 92. Dominique could have been over there over Scotty. Like you could have made that case.
That's who I should have brought up as being overrated, Dominique.
Oh no, he's not. No. You're not gonna do that.
On that note,
no. Hey, look, I got somebody in my comments right now saying, "Is he drunk?" Really? Dominique.
No, I'm bullshitting. No, Dominique was dope, but I don't think. But he wasn't the right type of player for that team. That team was constructed in a way where you needed to have traditional point guards, traditional power forwards, a superstar wing, and defenders, right? So they modeled that team. Some guys just had to get cut. Dominique wasn't going to get more play over Scottie Pippen. He wasn't going to play over Charles Barkley. He wasn't going to play over Karl Malone. So that you only get 3 spots at that, at that space. So at a 3, he's not better than Larry. I mean, Larry Bird he's Larry Bird. You know what I mean? So he's him and Isaiah and who was the other one that got cut late that should have been on the 92 team?
I was pulling up the roster. They had Tim Hardaway had a chance.
Hardaway.
Bro. I hear all y'all saying. I hear what everything y'all saying, bro. Listen, Dwayne Wade was coming off the bench.
Thank you.
This is prime Wade, bro. Like, there's a whole lot of we're talking a lot of names. Like, we got LeBron James at his bounciest. At his absolute bounciest. You got Kobe a year or two removed from a chip already. You got Harden just starting to figure stuff out. You got Kevin Durant. Like, what are we talking about here? Tim Hardaway or prime Dwayne Wade? Are you kidding me? I love Tim Bud. I love the crossover. I got skills. I love that commercial too. He ain't Flash. Come on, what are we talking
about? The question is Coach K or Chuck Daly. That's the fucking question you gotta ask.
I think in all honesty, I would call it a wash. I think they're the only 2 guys outside of him, including Popovich, that can manage big egos, right? Like Chuck Daly was able to navigate that team because he was Chuck Daly. The only other guy that could have done that would probably be Pat Riley at that time.
And the best game they had was the game in that gym that nobody wants to show. The whole that's the best game.
Yeah.
Weber came in, Bob Hurley came in. Yeah, that's what happened.
So I asked a former player that played against them, and he told me not to say his name ever in this, but I asked him, did they actually play? He swore up and down. He said they played them hard. They just got beat because they wasn't used to having. Dude, imagine walking out to a court with old Larry Bird, Magic on his
line directly at him.
And then you get Chris Webber. You got Chris Webber, a young Chris Webber, Jamal Mashburn, Penny. All these dudes walk out there. You're not going to beat them because them dudes going to run you out the gym. And that's what I'm saying. Like my man Kaz is saying. Bro, you talking about Russell Westbrook before the triple doubles. We talking about a dude that we don't even know how good he is. By the way, did anybody name Chris Paul? I think I was. Yes.
Saying, what are we talking about here? I love the Dream Team. I love the home video. I still got the VHS at home. I love the videos. I love all of it. It grew up. It's part of my Americana. I grew up with the Dream Team. But if we talk of hoops, our 2012 team beats them. Soundly.
Stay right there. I got something for him though. Hold 1 second.
Uh-oh.
And while we at it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this on the back. The 96 team, go look at the 96 roster. The 96 team can beat the 92 team.
No.
Hold on. With Shaq,
This is the time where I leave the studio, guys. Dinner's on the stove. Appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna wait for see what Wells brings on before I dip out of here.
Right here. Hold on, I'm coming.
Bro, this is what's that?
Ain't it like it's like 10 o'clock out there? That's what time y'all eat dinner out there? I'll be on that other shit in New
I've
York.
been here for 90 minutes. I thought we were starting at 8.
Oh, we're gonna take it back. All right, here we go.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, see, look at that.
Y'all both got it. Oh wow.
Hold on. I got one for you though.
What you got?
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you with this.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit.
Oh, he threw it back.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. You don't play.
Wow.
What are y'all on right now? What am I seeing?
Hey.
Oh, real deal, Holyfield? I got that somewhere. I got Michael Jackson.
No. This the one.
Oh, that's the GOAT.
595.
That's the
Yep.
GOAT.
Wow.
Bro.
Nobody got both red blazers. Damn.
Michael Jackson Moonwalker right behind me.
Oh, whoa.
No, before we get out of here though, man. Oh, I got the box. Set. I swear to God. I'm gonna post it on Twitter. Oh, come on, man.
Montana. Damn, they throwing that shit back.
So I appreciate all you guys coming in. I'm gonna send y'all all the video. We're gonna chat about this because next time I definitely want y'all on. And now Ced knows he needs to use his laptop.
Yeah.
So now we can start on time next time. But I definitely need all you guys on. And before we get out, I want everybody to plug their social media so everybody can follow y'all. Kaz, go ahead.
You go ahead and follow my show, Say Less with Kaz, on Instagram and Twitter. And follow me on Twitter at Kazeem, that's Kazeem, on all social media platforms.
When you get money, you just go by your name.
Yeah, one name, like Cher.
You can follow me on both Twitter and Instagram at Randy J. Cruz. That's RENDY, the letter J, CRUZ. And you can find the Retro Room Podcast on Instagram at a Retro Room Pod. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. There you go.
Wells.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Wells_P, WELLS_P.
And you can find me at King Josiah 54. That's it. That's where I'll be at.
Hey, y'all be sure to follow them. I know y'all was asking for the social media. I'll make sure in the comments so that I'll put it on the video and everything. But y'all follow these dudes. These dudes here, man, I'm a big fan of all of theirs. And like I said, it gives me every day I got something I can look forward to. Whenever I'm upset, I just go to Joe Page and I watch one of his jokes, and then I watch the comments come right behind it because people usually hate me. So that's how it goes. And shout out to my boy Kaz, man. He, like I said, he's doing everything out there, man. He's our next Spike Lee. That's what I call him.
Hopefully they'll take my seats away.
Man. And shout out to Randy. Randy's he's the Burt Sugar of the NBA. He took him in, man. He has all the facts. That's why I didn't want to argue with him about that 92 team. Because he's gonna pull in them veteran strings on me. Shout out to my boy Wells, man.
Yes, sir.
I think I got something that nobody else has. He has it, obviously. And as you see that really happen, man, y'all be sure to follow Wells if you got sneaker courses for real.
Yeah.
Of course, the comedian, man. This dude here, we don't have so many guys in sports, in the comedic side for sports, but this guy, man, he takes the punches, man. Shout out to my boy King Josiah, man. So, man, we're gonna be back because next time I'm gonna get a couple of more NBA guys here. I see they've been texting me. That's why they didn't get the invite when I sent it out. So
yo, Kaz,
run it back next week, bro.
For you, Kaz.
Come on, man.
See?
Don't get me started.
Now you're gonna have to make me. Now you have to make me bring out the big boy toys, bro. Now you have to make me bring out the toys, man. Come on, son. That's the Rock's belt.
Where you at?
Come back next time with some Richard Pryor like greatest hits tape we ain't never seen. Like, all
right, y'all take it easy, man.
All right, fellas. All right, take care.
Chris, thank you, bro. All right, see y'all. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.